hi, and happy holidays. I didn't even realize until, a couple of hours ago that today's Friday. I actually thought that this was Thursday, and then I realized it was Friday, and I was like, well, maybe I just won't go live, and I'll just skip it for this week. And then I decided, no, I want to do this because so here I am to talk about reflecting on the year. Because reflection is great. I mean, it's good for the soul. It's good for us to remember what we accomplished during the year. Because so often, I just feel like women, especially, so often we don't think about the wonderful things that happened during the year. And we kind of get to this time of the year, and sometimes we feel like, even if we have remembered our wins and challenge and celebrations during the year, we get to this time of the year and we kind of go, oh, I won't be sad to see this year go. It's definitely how I have been feeling about this year. Um, but we don't celebrate. We don't celebrate enough. And I just feel like at this time of the year we start to feel like, what have I done? Another year older and another year gone, and what have I done? And so I used to really feel that way because I didn't used to do excuse me, anything at this time of year to celebrate. Excuse me one second. I've had this cough coming for the last few days. So I really used to, like I said, I really used to feel that way a lot. And then I started doing these different little rituals at the end of the year. And I do change them up a little bit. In fact, I think I'm going to add one back in this next year that I did a couple of years ago and I didn't do this year. So I wanted to just come in here and talk to you about it. And this is really the beginning part of this is a little bit easier to do if you have somebody with you. And in case you don't, I'm going to help you. You can come back and watch this and just let me be your guide. So the first thing is I make 3 lists. I make a list of what I accomplished, what I achieved, wins, celebrations, and challenges that I overcame. Okay? That's the first list. And then the second list is what worked well during the year, and the third list is what I hope to improve upon in the next year. The second and third list are basically fairly short. I mean, I try to keep those to under 5 intentionally. Like, 5 things that worked really well during the year and 5 things I want to improve on or start during the next year. Because maybe it's something I don't even do and I want to start it. And I mean, the reason I keep it to 5 is because you could make that a really long list, and you don't want to have a whole bunch of things that you want to do. So there are small things, and like I said, usually it's I want to improve on. So it's something I'm already doing. I just want to get it better, and I like to look at what did work well. And I'll be honest with you, most of that is business wise, but it doesn't have to be. It can be health wise. For instance, earlier in the year, I quit drinking sodas. I totally quit for about 3 months, and then I went back to them. And so that's something I want to improve upon in the next years. I want to go, and it worked really well. So see, that was something that worked really well for 3 months. For 3 months, it worked really super well. So I can count that as it worked really well. But I also want to improve upon it because I want to do more of that. In fact, I was telling someone today, I said, I feel kind of like my father when we used to joke about he could quit smoking. He'd done it many times until he finally quit forever. And, I like, so I've quit drinking sodas a few times. And I mean, I've quit for 3 months to a year. And I think I want to go back to at least being done with them for a while. So that's one of the things I want to improve upon. But I'm going to ask you some questions, and feel free, for your first list. That first list is long. So the question becomes, what did you do well? What were some, let me rephrase for you. Easy, nice, easy way to ask it is, and you can write this down if you want. What were some wins, celebrations, accomplishments, and achievements and challenges that you overcame this year? What did you do great this year? And you're going to write down a few things, and then you're going to stop. And you're going, well, I don't know. So, what else? What was another win for the year? And feel free to come back and watch this and pause it as you're writing down the next thing? What else did you accomplish? What was another achievement? What else was something great this year? What else? What else? Feel free to write in the comments if you want to. And by the way, thank you so much for watching the replay. I do appreciate that. What else? What else? If you can have somebody asking you for about 30 minutes, what else? You're going to come up with an incredible list. But in case you don't have that person standing around to ask you that, what else? I'll be happy to do it. And what else? And just to show you, if I can find my list, because I did make one. Just a matter of finding it. There's my list. It's a full page. It's a full page. Now, you can limit it. You can say to yourself before you start it, I'm going to write down 25 things, which basically is a page. You know, there's what, 26 lines on a page paper. I actually went to the very, very bottom, so I ended up with about 27, 28. So say to yourself, what were 25 things that I won? Excuse me, that, you know, I feel like were wins, celebrations, accomplishments, achievements, or even obstacles that I overcame. Because overcoming an obstacle is a win. It's an achievement. So, you know, I want you to think of all these different things. And just to give you a few of mine, one was helping to put my aunt into memory care. I mean, it was a major challenge, but we did it. I went up there and helped one of my cousins to go through the process, to get the movers, to pack her up, and all those things to move her into memory care. Another was I decluttered some of my own stuff. I tell you, when you go through somebody else's house and you have to go from, I mean, she had a 1-bedroom apartment, which we'd already moved her out of her house and everything. So she was in a 1-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and a bathroom. And we had to bring that down to 1 room and a small closet. So, you know, when you go through all that with somebody else, you kind of come back and look at your own stuff and start to go, oh, wow. Maybe it's time to get rid of a few things. So decluttered a lot of my own stuff. Decluttered a lot of stuff up here. You know, we grew this group some. I've gone live, you know, a lot. Written some new content. So all those different things, all those little things, you know, that can be that. It can also be things like quit drinking sodas for 3 months, cut out sugar, or even cut down on sugar, on refined sugar. It could be went for walks for 1 month. Let's say you did 1 month of going for a walk every day. That's fine. I mean, that might be what it is. It might be that you went for a walk 3 times a week the entire year. Freaking awesome. High five to you. Yeah. Whatever it might be, I want you to make this list. And like I said, say 25 things. That way you don't feel like you're overloading yourself. And if you go beyond that, flipping awesome. That's awesome. But then if you get to like 20 and you're like, oh, I said 25. It's only 5 more. So you can ask yourself, you can come back and listen to this, or you can have somebody else say, and what else? What else? Did you do a launch? Whether it went well or not, if it was your first launch, awesome. Did you do a challenge in your group? Did you create a group? Did you start doing more stuff on a second platform? Did you pay off a debt? Did you Start learning something new like a language or dancing, or did you learn how to do a cartwheel finally? Actually, we were watching Doctor Who, and one of my friends messaged me about somebody, Judy doing a one-handed cartwheel. And I said, I can't. I don't know if I can do that anymore. I haven't tried. But and she goes, could you do a regular one? I'm like, yeah, I can do a regular one right now. Yeah, I can still do that. She said she'd never learned. So, did you learn how to do a cartwheel? Did you learn how to ride a bike? Did you learn how to swim? Did you learn how to play an instrument? Or did you simply pick that back up? That can't, if you started dancing again, or you started painting again, or you started drawing again, or started speaking a language that you used to speak and you just didn't have anybody to speak it with and you started doing it again, all those things are awesome accomplishments. So, what did you accomplish this year? What did you achieve? What were your wins? What obstacles did you overcome? What challenges did you overcome? Go ahead, write it down while I take another drink. And what else? And what else? And what else? And what else? And one more time. And what else? So, like I said, if you need to come back to this video and watch this to hear somebody say, and what else, feel free. Now, the other thing I do is, like I said, I make the list of what went well during the year, and I limit that to 5, and 5 things I want to improve on. And I limit that to, like I said, 5 things. Now, after that, there are a couple more steps to this. After that, I write a very short paragraph, generally a sentence or two, about things that I learned about myself regarding my word of the year. I do focus this on my word of the year because I choose a word of the year. If you don't select a word of the year, or you didn't this year, then simply make it about, things you learned about yourself. And maybe it's the fact that you can overcome things, you can do hard things, that, or maybe you learn, because one of the things I learned is when it's for somebody else, I can do it faster. So maybe I need to start thinking of myself as a third party, as my boss. It's just 1 or 2 sentences. It doesn't have to include, so this means that I should do. I don't do that. It's just things I learned, it's how I learned it, what I learned. You can also incorporate, if you wanted to, obviously, how that's going to play out in the next year. But I kind of feel like when I just look at what I learned about myself, the how I'm going to include this in my next year kind of comes later for me, because I do go back and I read this list again. And then the last thing I do, the final step that I do, is I write a letter to myself. I write a Dear Beverly letter, and I date it December of the following year, because I will read it next year. And so I write it in past tense as if it's what has happened during this year. And so it's like, Dear Beverly, 2024 has been absolutely awesome. And I write down some of the things that I hope, dream, and plan to accomplish in that year. And then I tuck it away with my Christmas cards. I put it in an envelope, and I put my name on it. I put to Beverly, to be read on, and I put the date, usually December 1st, which it's read whenever I take my Christmas cards out for the next year, to be honest. I have sometimes, I don't really put an exact date on anymore. I used to put December 1st, and I kind of just say December anymore, because by the time I take my Christmas cards down from upstairs, sometimes I take them down in November right after Thanksgiving, and I take them with. So, so when I take them down and start preparing my Christmas cards for the next year, that's when I read it. And I look at what I have done and I check off things. And there have been times I went, didn't do that. Okay. Why? And can I still fit it in? I have a month left. Can I fit it in? So sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, honestly, let's be honest, it doesn't all happen because it's not something that I'm looking at every day to manifest, but I do look at it at the end of the year. Now, what you can do, obviously, you could make a short, small little vision board out of that, and even just write things on a 3x5 and keep it handy so that you're looking at those things, the key points of that letter, and you're more likely to get it done. In fact, I think I'll do that this year. I think I'll add that. I think I'll add that because I don't want to carry around the letter. I don't want to read the letter every day, but I do want to get those things done. So focus on that. So those are my 3 rituals that I do at the end of the year and that I'm going to do again this year. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I did a few years ago that I think I'm going to bring back for 2024 is I kept a jar of celebrations. Like I called it a joy jar. And it was good things that happened to me during the year. And I just took little strips of paper and I wrote it on there. I didn't date things. I didn't do anything like that. I just kind of wrote them on there to see, and it was silly. It was, everything from I went for a 45-minute walk today to I signed a client today to I lost 3 pounds, whatever it might have been. I mean, it's all kinds of weird things on it. And at the end of the year, I went through that and I read, it was so much fun to sit down on December 31st and read those. I still did the ritual that I just told you about where I made my list and everything. I still did that. My joy jar was for New Year's Eve. And New Year's Eve or New Year's Eve, depending on what I was going to be doing on New Year's Eve. I sometimes read it the night before, but I tried to read it on New Year's Eve day, that morning, or afternoon, so that it was preparing me for going out that evening or doing whatever I was going to be doing that evening. So, I used to do that. So I'm going to bring that back. I didn't do it this year. Did I do it last year? I can't remember if I did it in 22 or if I did it in 21. I think I did it in 21 and didn't do it in 22. So I don't think I've done it in the last 2 years. I think I'm going to bring that back. So that's an idea too. It's going to be on my 5 things I want to improve upon or add to my year. So that's it. I want to wish you a very, very, very Merry and Happy Christmas and Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whatever else you might be celebrating up until then. Happy Boxing Day. I'll see you before New Year's. I'll pop in here before New Year's. So then I'll wish you the rest of it. So until the next time, have a great day. And don't forget, tell me in your comments some of the things. You don't have to give me your whole list. Or if you want to write out your list like I did and snap a picture of it and pop it in there, awesome. Let us know some of the wonderful things that happened for you this year. Bye-bye.